Something I thought would be helpful to share is a little basis on the approach that I take for psychedelic therapy. Psychedelic therapy is unique to each individual moment and each individual experience. It's one of those things that exists and lives and breathes in the moment. It's its own thing. So it's very difficult to say that we take a standardized, cookie cutter approach that we apply to every circumstance. The psychedelic experience is one where we oftentimes connect very deeply with ourselves or the world around us. One of the most common characteristics of a psychedelic experience is that it brings things to our awareness. So if we have dynamics of repressed emotions, stored up pain, unprocessed grief, patterns where we see ourselves in a certain light or a certain judgment, perhaps as being a burden, being not good enough, being not worthy of love, perhaps even deserving of pain and suffering because we've been a bad person. These are dynamics that are very likely to come to the surface during a psychedelic experience. So when we're doing the therapy, my goal is to begin to bring these things up at a slower, gentler pace where we can navigate the discomfort. If the psychedelic substance is going to bring them up, it's probably best to have a solid foundation, to have skills and tools and capacities in place to navigate this pain. So the first thing we do is we start to look clearly at our pain, our suffering, and our patterns and dynamics in life. What is our relationship with pain? What is our relationship with emotions? How do we identify emotions? How do we process or express emotions? How do we comfort and soothe emotions? Do we repress them? Do we stuff them down until we can't stuff them anymore and then it explodes on the people that we care the most about? What is our relationship with discomfort and pain? Do we run from it, hide from it, try to avoid it at all costs? Have we developed adaptations of distraction, addictions to keep us away from this pain and suffering? These are all dynamics that we'll want to look at clearly, exactly as they are, not as we'd like them to be. To do this, it requires a great deal of curiosity and compassion. And these are things that we help to build. So our first goal is to look clearly at our dynamics, and ideally at our suffering. Once we look clearly at our suffering, we can look at the causes of our suffering. What were the conditions that this suffering originated in? What needs was this suffering trying to meet? How did we adapt to these circumstances? These are areas that we'll want to inquire and get to know very clearly. Once we understand our suffering, we look at the causes of our suffering and our relationship with that suffering, then we can begin to build a practice where we make choices, where we introduce agency, perhaps for the first time, as many of these patterns and dynamics originate early in life, and we keep following them until we get to this point. So if we're going to work with a psychedelic substance, and all of these things are going to come up, my approach is to start to build a relationship with them ahead of time. That way we have a nice, solid foundation. We start to build, develop, and mature the capacities, the skills and tools necessary to choose how we're going to relate with ourselves and our dynamics. That way, if we work with a psychedelic substance, we're well prepared to engage with it. We're well prepared to work with the things that come up. And we can have a very clear intention to go in and comfort and soothe and rest and relax all of these tensions, constrictions, pains, weights that we carry around in life.